I was a happy child. I've looked at my pictures and I can recall instances in like New York where I used to throw a court, and I lived in, let me see, 765 East 166th Street. That's in the Bronx. Now, I don't know anything about all this other than the slight memories that I have. But I believe that Yankee Stadium was right down the street from me. Okay? And also, okay, I lived on the 13th floor. I think it was in 13H or something like that. So, what do I remember? I remember several things. What really sticks out are three instances, in fact. The first one had to do with, I always watched my father when he was coming home. He had to cross the George Washington Bridge, and from my window I could see the George Washington Bridge. And whenever he crossed the bridge, I remember that he used to flicker his lights off and on to indicate that he was on his way. And I knew about what time that was going to be, because I always sat by the window waiting for him to be on his way home, and I thought that was cool. So I remember that, and that was before I was 6 or 7. I remember, what else do I remember? I remember throwing toys, my toys. I would think that my parents at that time, even though we lived in the projects, and mind you, it was the projects, it was not, suburbia, that I guess we had a little bit more than other people because he was in the Army. So my toys I used to throw out the window to people, to kids I thought, who may not have had anything, or maybe I used to think they didn't have anything. That's something that goes on today, that I like to give things to people who don't have enough now. What else? I remember dreaming, at least I used to think it was dreams, I'm not sure now. There was always like a circus in the sky, and this is, I'm just trying to describe it as I remembered it. But I remember clowns and balloons and, clouds turning into stuff, multicolored drums, beating, a lot of stuff in the clouds. I would look out the window, or at least I thought I was looking out the window, and I would see these clouds and stuff that would turn into all this multicolored, very colorful display going across my window. I don't know what that was all about. I do remember, and now come to think about it, I remember several other things. My mom bought me several things. One thing she brought me three things I remember. One of them was a record player that what you had to do is you had to cut off the end of a pin, stick it up there and screw it in there, and then it would play until the pin wore down, and then it would start dragging. You had to cut off a fresh pin, stick it up there, tighten it up, and you continue. So I remember that box. That was a very good box. Books, she brought me lots of books. She brought me these How and Why books that were great. But more importantly, she brought me this collection of books that were about writers. It was not about writers, writings by famous writers. So I remember that, for instance, we had Edgar Allan Poe, we had Victor Hugo, and I mentioned those two because those happen to be my favorite writers in the world. She brought me those, and then she had, a whole bunch of others. So I can remember those things. I remember that I had a friend, I used to call him my cousin, named George Laws, and he was a good kid, and he still is a good kid. He's a Christian and all of that, and he's a good kid. I remember going over to his house all the time. I remember the time that I got this mark on my eye up here. It's because he knocked me down the steps. I could also remember the time we were caught peeing in the hallway, and we were taken to jail by the hallway police. This is a weird situation. Hallway police are like, you got these big projects, and you got people that roam the halls, and if they catch you doing something bad in the hallway, they come get you. And they took us all the way down. It must not have been far, but they took us, took us down into this basement. There were bars and everything. Scared the hell out of me. So whatever I was doing, I stopped at right that second. The Bronx, I remember those things. I remember a 5 and dime store where I had to go buy Mom, like sugar or bread and stuff that she would send me to. And I remember there was this big old fat white girl, huge fat girl, right? She was about 12 and I'm about 6, right? And every time she could catch me, she would like steal my money. And so one time I had my Uncle Kirk over, who was like 6 months older than me, and I had my grandma, some people at the Bronx, right? And so my mom sent me to the store to get something. And I'll get in the elevator, and I'm going down, the elevator stops on, let's say, the 10th or the 11th floor. And then this big old fat girl comes on, and the elevator starts going down. I'm nervous. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm nervous. The elevator goes down. She hits the stop button. When she hits the stop button, she says, I want to see your thing. I'm like, I'm 6'7". I don't know what she's talking about. Thing, what thing? Okay, I'm going, what thing? And she said, I want to see your wee-wee. And then to enforce what she wanted to see, she, bam, smacks me upside the head, right? So, you know, I'm starting a little tear thing, you know, like, but, you know, I'm not supposed to show my wee-wee. You know, I know that much. I mean, my mama told me not to show the wee-wee. I'm like, yeah. She, bam, smacks me upside the head. So, you know, I slowly, you know, get my little wee-wee down, zipper down, and take out my wee-wee, right? And then the girl starts laughing. I mean, she laughs. She just starts laughing and shit. She started to laugh and everything, so I just put my stuff back on. And then she hits the stop to go with the elevator, and the elevator goes on down. And she's laughing all the way out the door and stuff. So that was I was like, to this day, wondering what she's laughing about. Because I know my wee-wee had to be right, you know, because it's right today. You know, relative to the age and everything. I think my wee-wee should have been, like, right, you know what I'm saying. But that was an interesting little thing. I remember in school and everything. I think my wee-wee should have been like right, you know what I'm saying. But that was an interesting little thing. I remember in school, it must have been 2nd grade or 1st grade. I got kicked out. See, we had this elementary school that wasn't too far. This was a problem on my part, but I used to sit by the same little old white girl. Now she may have been light, but I think she was white. And reading circle, you know, reading circle. And one time I get up there and the teacher moves me from sitting next to the person I've been sitting next to all, you know, the whole year. And I'm angered, I take it, and I start fighting and kicking and everything, and the principal has to come get me and everything, and I failed school, failed 2nd grade. And I thought that was pretty interesting. These are all little things that probably play a very, very big role on why I am the way I am today. I just thought I'd share that with you, and we'll go from there. We're going to stop now. We'll talk more about this later. Bye. I think I want to talk about, briefly, my child. Or, better yet, my childhood. I have a son now, so I can see a great many of the similarities between how I was as a child and how he is currently as a child. And I find it amazing of the similarities. For instance, this morning I got up, he expressed an interest in learning all that he can about computers. And since he expressed that concern, I thought I would go out and try to get him some lessons that he can study deals with multimedia, how to deal with audio, how to deal with visual, how to deal with graphics, etc., etc. So I got up early this morning. I'm out here learning. I'm studying. I'm figuring out how can I get him excited about this, because I have a passion for it. But it's my passion. It's not his passion. And I'm seeing that I cannot impose upon him that which I am excited about, even though he may say, I want to learn this. That may not be the case. It may be a case of, I want to learn about it today, Dad, because it seems cool. But tomorrow it could be a whole other thing. He hasn't a passion yet. And I do. I mean, I had a passion when it came to photography. I had a passion, and still do, that deals with traveling, meeting new people. And now I have a passion that deals with computers and multimedia. But it's not his passion. So instead of getting angry, I swallowed it and went on to deal with it as is. I think I was